So, hello student, very good morning to everyone. And so, in today's lecture, we are going to start new chapter, that is antihistaminic drugs. So, we'll start with that antihistaminic drugs. So, before starting that, we'll revise that what we had learned in the last lecture. So, in the last lecture, we have started with the synthesis of aceclofenac. So the synthesis of this aceclofenac start with this 2,6-dichloro diphenylamine in presence of oxalyl chloride. so the reaction of these two molecules takes place, condensation reaction by the loss of this HCl, and you will get this compound. Then this compound undergoes intramolecular Friedel-Crafts acylation reaction in presence of anhydrous AlCl3 aluminum trichloride. So we will get this acylated product. Then this acylated product undergoes reduction, and the reducing reagent is Wolff-Kishner reduction, NaNH2 in presence of KOH. So we will get this compound. This is called as isatine. Then this isatine undergoes ring opening reaction in presence of this NaOH. So this ring will open. Then the next step is this diclofenac sodium diclofenac react with this benzyl bromoacetate, and you will get this O substituted product. This group will join to this oxygen. You will get this O substituted product. Then the next step is simply it's a hydrogenolysis reaction, the breaking of this OC bond in presence of H2PDC, and you will get your aceclofenac. So this is all about the synthesis of aceclofenac that we had learned in the last lecture. So student, today we are going to learn the antihistaminic drugs. So before that, I will tell you what is histamine. So mechanism of histamine release and its action. So this histamine is a 2-imidazole ethanamine. It's a 2-imidazole ethanamine. Its common name is 2-imidazole ethylamine, and it is a tissue amine, and it is obtained by decarboxylation of amino acid, that is histidine. So it's one of the tissue amine, and it is obtained by the decarboxylation of amino acid, that is histidine. And histamine, it widely distributed in nature, and it is mainly present in organs tissue of the human body. So it is mainly present in a skin, lungs, gastrointestinal tract. Then in brain, it present as a neurotransmitter. So this histamine is widely distributed in nature, and it is mainly present in different organs and tissues of the body, like skin, lungs, and gastrointestinal tract. And in brain, it present in its in a neurotransmitter. So this is the structure of your histidine. It is one of the amino acid. So this amino acid undergoes deep carboxylation reaction. You will get this histamine, and this histamine causes allergic reaction. It causes allergic reaction. So this histamine is released during allergic reaction. This histamine is released during allergic reaction, and anaphylactic manifestation caused by sensitizing antigen present in the food, pollen grains, and through the environmental factor. So there are some and sensitizing antigen are present in a food, pollen grain, and or through the environmental factor, that is called as allergen, which cause this allergic reaction, anaphylactic manifestation, and this is due to allergen. So the next slide, we'll see the definition of antihistaminic drug. So the antihistaminic drugs are defined as, these are the substance which is capable of diminishing or nullifying with high specificity several of the pharmacological effect on histamine, and which they do so by mechanism other than production of pharmacological response opposite to those produced by histamine. So the definition is very lengthy. Antihistamine drugs are the substance capable of diminishing or nullifying with the high specificity of the several pharmacological effect on histamine, and which they do so by mechanism other than production of pharmacological response opposite to produced by histamine. Or in simple word, the antihistaminic drugs are defined as the agents which are capable of blocking the action of histamine are known as antihistaminic drug or a antihistamine. So this release of histamine, uh, it is released by your allergen. You can say that it is released by anaphylactic manifestation caused by sensitizing antigen, and this sensitizing antigen are present in a food pollen grains. So that is called as allergen. So we'll see what is allergy. An allergy is a overreaction of the immune system. Allergy is defined as it is an overreaction of the immune system to normally harmless substances called as allergens. So allergens are nothing but these pollen grains, animal dander, down feather, mites, chemical and foods. So these are the allergens, and allergy is defined as the overreaction of immune system to normally harmless substances called as allergen. And the examples of allergen are pollen grains, immune dander, down feather, mites, chemical and food. So here food is there, it's not a good, it's a food. Let me correct this, say food. food and due to this release of histamine, it causes watery eyes, sneezing, itching, swelling, difficulty in breathing. So it causes variety of reaction. The release of histamine causes various reaction in your body, that is watery eyes, then sneezing, itching, swelling, difficulty in breathing. So this histamine produces wide variety of physiological action like your watery eyes, sneezing, itching, swelling, difficulty in breathing. So along with that, it also produces some physiological action like strong vasodilation of capillaries, and increase the permeability and resulting into the accumulation of fluid in the body, and that causes edema. So due to the release of this histamine, it causes strong vasodilation of capillary, and it increases the permeability of that capillary, and that result into the accumulation of fluid in the body, and that fluid causes the edema in your different organs. Then the second one is on smooth muscle, the lung. On the smooth muscle of the lung, it produces bronchial constriction. So on smooth muscles of lungs, it produces bronchial constriction. It produces constriction of veins, different bronchial constriction, and it has a stimulatory action on certain excretory glands, causing increase in the secretion of acid in a stomach. So this histamine causes stimulatory action on certain excretory glands, causing the increase in the secretion of acid into the stomach. So the due to this release of amine, it causes stimulatory action on certain excretory glands, causing increase in the secretion of acid in the stomach. Then on uterus, it causes constriction action. On uterus, it causes constriction action, and on lacrimal and nasal secretory gland are also stimulated. So the lacrimal and nasal secretory glands are also stimulated due to the release of this histamine. And so this histamine plays important role in human allergy. So histamine plays very important role in human allergy, since the skin reaction produced by intradermal injection of the histamine is similar to allergic reaction, allergic skin reaction, like your urticaria, dermatitis, then urticaria, dermatitis, confirming thereby that the allergic reaction are due to the release of histamine. Hence, the agents which are capable of blocking the action of histamine are called as antihistamine. So this histamine plays important role in human allergy, since the skin reaction produced by intradermal injection of histamine is the similar to the allergic skin reaction like urticaria, dermatitis, confirming thereby that the allergic reaction are due to the release of histamine. Hence, the agents which are capable of blocking the action of histamine are known as antihistamine. So this is the simple definition of a histamine, antihistamine. So the role of the histamine is the role of this antihistaminic agents, or the antihistamine, is that the antihistamine agent do not achieve cure of the allergy. It do not achieve the cure of the allergy from which the patient is suffering, but they do alleviate the symptom and makes the allergy bearable. It makes the allergy bearable and block the action of histamine for 2 to 12 hours, after which re-administration of the drug is required. So this antihistamine agent do not achieve cure of the allergy from which the patient is suffering, but they do alleviate the symptoms, and make the allergy bearable, and it block the action of histamine, histamine for it blocks the action of histamine for 2 to 12 hours, after which drug administration is required. So when you take this antihistamine drug, so the role of this antihistamine drug is that helps to it alleviates the symptom, and it makes that patient to bear that allergy, and it blocks the action of histamine, for about 2 to 12 hours. And after that, the re-administration of the drug is needed or required. So the histamine gives rise to characteristic symptom of allergy by combination with certain bodies at the site of action. The antihistamine compete with the histamine to affect this combination, and if sufficiently active, prevent or inhibit the histamine and thus prevent the allergy. So the function of this antihistaminic drug is that histamine gives rise to characteristic symptom of allergy by combination with certain bodies and the site of action. So the role of this antihistamine is that the antihistamine compete with that histamine. It competes with that histamine to affect this combination and sufficiently active prevent or inhibit the histamine, and thus it prevent the allergy. So when the antihistaminic agent combined with the receptor substance, not appreciable effect is produced, but subsequent introduction of histamine does not give rise to allergic symptom, since the receptor site is already combined with the antihistamine drug and do not longer available for combination with histamine. So this antihistaminic drug combined with site of action, and it blocks the action of your histamine. So when antihistaminic agent combined with the receptor substances, no appreciable effect is produced, but subsequent introduction of histamine do not give rise to allergic symptom, since the receptor site has already combined with antihistaminic drug and no longer available for with histamine. So again, I will explain what is the role of this antihistaminic drug. So the antihistamines agent do not achieve cure of the allergy from which the patient is suffering, but they do alleviate the symptom and makes the allergy bearable. It makes the allergy bearable, and it blocks the action of histamine for 2 to 12 hours. It blocks the action of your histamine for 2 to 12 hours, and after which the re-administration of the drug is required. So histamine gives rise to characteristic symptom of allergy by combination with certain bodies and at the site of action. The role of this antihistamine is that it competes with the histamine to effect this combination, and it sufficiently active prevents or inhibit the histamine and thus prevent the allergy. Uh, so when the histamine agents combine with the receptor, it produces no appreciable effect is produced, but subsequent introduction of histamine do not give rise to allergic symptoms since the receptor site has already combined with the antihistaminic drug and no longer available for with histamine. So this is all about the role of antihistamine. So this allergic reaction are produced in the human being, that is watery eyes, sneezing, itching, swelling, and difficulty in breathing. And you are this histamine present in different parts and tissues of the body, organs of the body. So it present in skin, lungs, gastrointestinal tracts, and in brain it present in as a neurotransmitter. And the allergy is caused due to allergen. So an allergy is defined as an overreaction of immune system to normally harmless substances called as allergens, and allergens are pollen grains, animal dander, down feather, then your mites, chemical and food. So these are the allergen which cause the allergy. An allergy is defined as it is an overreaction of immune system to normally harmless substances called as allergen. Examples are pollen grains, then animal dander, down feather, mites, chemical and foods. So histamine release causes watery eyes, sneezing, itching, swelling, difficulty in breathing, swelling and difficulty in breathing. And along with that, histamine produces wide variety of physiological action, like it causes strong vasodilation of capillaries and increase the permeability, thus result in accumulation of fluid in the body and causing edema. Then second one is on smooth muscle of the lungs. It produces bronchial constriction, and it has a stimulatory action on certain excretory glands, causing increase in secretion of acid in the stomach. And on uterus it causes constriction action, and on longerebral and nasal secretory gland it also stimulated. So these two glands are also stimulated, that is nasal and longerebral glands. So this is all about your the various physiological actions of your histamine. So the next point is types of antihistaminic drugs. So the what are the drugs that used to the blocks the action of histamine, or the histamine that used to block the action of histamine blocker. So the first derivative is ethylamine derivative. The ethylamine derivative. So it's having this CH2, it's a ethyl, and you are having this NH2. So it's a ethylamine derivative, and the example of this ethylamine derivative is diphenhydramine chloride, diphenhydramine hydrochloride, diphenhydramine hydrochloride, and its brand name is Benadryl. Brand name is Benadryl. So you have seen this Benadryl in different medical store. So this is the structure of that Benadryl, diphenhydramine hydrochloride. So this is an derivative of ethanol amine derivative. It's a ethanol amine derivative. So it's a ethanol amine derivative. So here you are having CH2 and NO. So both We are having CH2, CH2, NH2, and OH. So it's a ethanol amine derivative, not say it. Say ethanol amine derivative. So your diphenhydramine hydrochloride. This is oily, lipid soluble, and free base, and has a bitter taste. And it is hydrochloride salt. Its hydrochloride salt is stable, and it's a white crystalline powder soluble in. It is a white crystalline powder soluble in water and alcohol. So this benadryl, it is a oily, lipid soluble, free base, and has a bitter taste. Its hydrochloride salt is stable and white crystalline powder soluble in water and alcohol, and it is used for various allergic. The uses of this benadryl is that it is used for the various allergic condition, and to a lesser extent as an antispasmodic agent. So it is also used as an antispasmodic agent. Then it is used in the treatment of urticaria, and then fever, bronchial asthma. It is also used in the treatment of urticaria, then bronchial asthma, and it is also used as an anti-tissue property, and hence it is used in cough mixtures. So it has also anti-tissue properties, and hence it is used in cough mixture. And the side effect of this benadryl is it causes drowsiness, dryness of mouth, headache, and blurred vision. So these are the side effects of this benadryl. So this benadryl is a ethanol amine derivative, and the example under this ethylamine derivative class is diphenhydramine hydrochloride, benadryl. So this is the structure of benadryl. So this benadryl, it is a ethanol amine derivative, and it is oily, lipid soluble, free base, and has a bitter taste. Its hydrochloride salt is stable, white crystalline powder soluble in water and alcohol. It is soluble in water and alcohol, so you can take it by oral route of administration, and it is used in a various allergic reaction, and to a lesser extent as an antispasmodic agent, and it is also used in the treatment of urticaria, fever, and bronchial asthma, and it has an anti-tissue property, and hence used in cough mixture. Then the side effect of this benadryl is it causes drowsiness, dryness of mouth, headache, and blurred vision. So this is all about first class ethanol amine derivative. Ethanol amine derivative. Then the second class is piperizing derivative. The example is cetrizine. Piperizing derivative example is cetrizine. So this is the structure of this cetrizine. So it belongs to the piperizing class compound. So this cetrizine belongs to this piperizing class compound, and the uses of this cetrizine is cetrizine hydrochloride is used as a long acting antihistaminic agent in general allergic condition, and it does not cause sedation. The side effect of this cetrizine causes mild drowsiness and dryness of mouth. It causes mild dryness and dryness of mouth. It causes drowsiness and dryness of mouth. So you have seen this cetrizine, and in a medical store, and you are taking this cetrizine, and in various if you have the allergy, then you are using this cetrizine. So this piperazine derivative second class, and the example under that piperazine class is cetrizine. So this is the structure of cetrizine, and this cetrizine belongs to the piperazine class of compound, and this cetrizine hydrochloride is used as a long acting antihistaminic agent in general allergic condition. It does not causes sedation, and the side effect of this cetrizine it causes drowsiness, mild drowsiness, and dryness of mouth. So this is all about your second class Piperizing derivative. Then the next one is propylamine derivative. Propylamine derivative, and the example of that propylamine derivative is chlorpheneramine. Chlorpheneramine, propylamine derivative example is chlorpheneramine. So this is the structure of that chlorpheneramine. So this chlorpheneramine, it's a malate salt. The malate salt is white soluble crystalline powder. The malate salt is a white crystalline soluble powder which is soluble up to 30% in water and 10% in alcohol and chloroform. So it's malate salt. This is your malic acid. So it's a malate salt. So the malate salt is a white crystalline powder which is soluble up to 30% in water and 10% in alcohol and chloroform. The potency is increased tenfold time by chlorination at para position of benzene ring. So the potency of this drug is increased. The potency of this chlorpheneramine is increased. So the potency of this propylamine derivative increased 10-fold time if you substitute the para position of this benzene ring. So by chlorine, so substitution of this benzene ring by chlorination at para position, it will increase the potency of that drug by 10-fold time, and it is optically active because this carbon is chiral carbon. This carbon attached to 4 different groups, this pyridine, chlorobenzene, hydrogen and CH2. So it's a optically active, and the dextro isomer having S configuration has higher activity. So it is optically active, and dextro isomer having S configuration has optical activity. So the S configuration is found to be more more higher activity than R1. So the uses of this chlorpheneramine is that it is used in various allergic reaction and used to treat uh, urticaria. So it's urticaria, used to treat urticarial infection, urticaria. Then the side effects are, it causes drowsiness, dryness of mouth. It causes drowsiness, dryness of mouth, and headache, blurred vision. These are the side effects of this chlorpheneramine. So this chlorpheneramine, it is a second class. Uh, this it is the example of propylamine derivative. So third class is propylamine derivative, and the example under this class is chlorpheneramine. So this is the structure of chlorpheneramine, and the malate salt is white crystalline powder which is soluble up to 30% in water. So the malate salt is soluble up to 30% in water and 10% in alcohol and chloroform. It 10% soluble in alcohol and chloroform, and the potency is increased tenfold time by chlorination at para position of this benzene ring, and it is optically active. The dextro isomer having S configuration has higher activity, and it is used in the treatment of various allergic reaction and used to treat urticaria. Then the side effect of this chlorpheneramine is that it causes drowsiness, then dryness of mouth, blurred vision. So these are some side effects. Then the fourth class is Benz imidazole derivative. Fourth class is Benz imidazole derivative, and the example under that class is Pentaprossol. Pentaprossol. So this is the structure of that Pentaprossol. So this is your S double bond O and O CH3. So this hydrogen is attached to this carbon. So this is separate one. So COCH3, it's a OCH3 group, methoxy group carbon. oxygen, carbon and hydrogen. So separate, so actually this oxygen and hydrogen is merged here, so it's a separate. So this is the structure of your pentaprosol, and it belongs to Benz imidazole class. So this pentaprosol belongs to Benz imidazole class, and it is also used as an anti-secretory agent and used in case of severe secretory disorder of peptic acid, and it is also used in the treatment of duodenal and peptic ulcer. And the side effect of this pantoprazole are: it causes nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain and diarrhea. So it causes nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain and diarrhea. So this pantoprazole, it's a derivative of benzimidazole. It's a benzimidazole derivative. This is the structure of that, and it is also used an anti-secretory agent used in case of severe secretory disorder of peptic acid, and it is also used in the treatment of peptic ulcer. And side effect: it causes nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain and diarrhea. So these are the side effects. And thank you. So now I will show you some videos regarding the histamine and antihistamine.
An allergy is an overreaction of the immune system to a normally harmless substance called an allergen. Common allergens include pollen, animal dander, down feathers, mites, chemicals, and a variety of foods. On first exposure, the inhaled allergen enters the mucous membrane lining the nasal passages, where it is taken up by the antigen-presenting cell, which presents it to the T cells. These T cells activate the B cells to release substances called IgE antibodies against the allergen. These IgE antibodies sit on the surface of the mast cells. The mast cells have granules containing chemical mediators like histamine and prostaglandins, etc. On exposure, the allergen binds to the IgE antibodies present on the mast cells, cross-linking them. This results in the release of histamine, prostaglandins, and other mediators into the surrounding tissue. These mediators cause dilation of the surrounding blood vessels and increase their permeability. This results in the nasal stuffiness, sneezing, and mucus discharge of allergic rhinitis. Antihistamines work by blocking the action of histamines at its receptors and thus decreasing the body's reaction to the allergen.
Antihistamines are medications that counteract the action of histamine. Histamine is most notoriously known as a mediator of allergic reactions, but it's also involved in important physiological processes such as immune response, gastric acid secretion, sleep and wake cycle, cognitive ability, and food intake. Histamine is synthesized from the amino acid histidine. It is present in all tissues, but most abundant in the skin, lungs, and gastrointestinal tract. Most of histamine in tissues is stored as granules inside mast cells. In the brain, histamine also functions as a neurotransmitter. It is found in histaminergic neurons of the hypothalamus, whose axons project throughout the brain. Histamine exerts its action by binding to histamine receptors, H receptors, all of which are G protein coupled. There are 4 H receptors with different tissue expression patterns and functions. Both H1 and H4 are involved in allergic inflammation, but only H1 antihistamines are currently available for allergy treatment. The major function of H2 receptor is to stimulate gastric acid secretion, so H2 antihistamines are used to treat gastric acid disorders, such as gastric reflux and peptic ulcers. The term antihistamine generally refers to allergy treating H1 antihistamines. Most allergies occur upon a repeated exposure to an allergen. Mast cells that were previously sensitized to the allergen are activated, releasing histamine and other inflammatory chemicals. Histamine causes dilation and increased permeability of blood vessels, stimulation of sensory nerves, contraction of smooth muscle, and is responsible for most allergic symptoms, ranging from watery eyes, runny nose, sneezing, itching, to swelling, hives, and difficulty breathing due to bronchospasm. When released systemically, histamine can cause extensive vasodilation and bronchoconstriction, which may lead to life-threatening anaphylaxis. Most H1 antihistamines are not similar to histamine in structure and do not compete with it for binding to H1 receptor. Instead, they bind to a different site on the receptor and stabilize it in its inactive state. The first generation H1 antihistamines derive from the same chemical class as muscarinic, adrenergic, and serotonin antagonists. So they also have anticholinergic, antiadrenergic, and antiserotonin effects. More importantly, they can cross the blood-brain barrier and interfere with histamine functions in the brain, causing drowsiness, cognitive impairment, and increased appetite. Some of these drugs are actually used for their sedative side effect as sleeping aid medications. Second-generation antihistamines are less able to cross the blood-brain barrier and are therefore minimally or non-sedating. They are also highly selective for H1 receptor and have no anticholinergic effects.
Histamine, friend or foe, or frenemy. From NIH Medline Plus magazine. Histamine. Is it the most annoying chemical in the body?
Plant.
It's the stuff that allergies are made of. Hay fever, food allergy, skin allergies. Histamine plays a big role in all of them. And those conditions play a big role in us. In 2015, CDC data showed that more than 8% of U.S. adults had hay fever. More than 5% of U.S. children had food allergies, and at least 12% of all U.S. kids had skin allergies. So what's the deal? Why do we have such a pesky chemical in our body? Well, histamine is usually our friend. Histamine is a signaling molecule sending messages between cells. It tells stomach cells to make stomach acid. And it helps our brain stay awake. You may have seen this effect illustrated by medicines that block histamine. Some antihistamines can make us sleepy, and other antihistamines are used to treat acid reflux. Histamine also works with our immune system. It helps protect us from foreign invaders. When the immune system discovers an invader, immune cells called B cells make IgE antibodies. The IgEs are like wanted signs that spread throughout the body, telling other immune cells about specific invaders to look for. Eventually, mast cells and basophils pick up the IgEs and become sensitized. When they come in contact with a target invader, they spew histamine and other inflammatory chemicals. Blood vessels become leakier so that white blood cells and other protective substances can sneak through and fight the invader. Histamine's actions are great for protecting the body against parasites. But with allergies, the immune system overreacts to harmless substances, not parasites. This is when histamine becomes our foe. Common allergens include peanuts, pollen, and animal dander. Leaky vessels cause tearing in eyes, congestion in the nose, and swelling, basically anywhere. Histamine works with nerves to produce itching. In food allergies, it can cause vomiting and diarrhea. And it constricts muscles in the lungs, making it harder to breathe. Most worrisome is when histamine contributes to anaphylaxis, a severe reaction that is potentially fatal. Swollen airways can prevent breathing, and a rapid drop in blood pressure could starve organs of vital blood. So what can be done about histamine? Antihistamines block cells from seeing histamine and can treat common allergies. Medicines like steroids can calm the inflammatory effects of allergies, and anaphylaxis needs to be treated with a shot of epinephrine, which opens up airways and increases blood pressure. So our relationship with histamine is complicated. We can do better. NIH, and specifically the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, support research of histamine and its related conditions. Great progress is being made in understanding allergy triggers and managing allergic symptoms, and figuring out why histamine, our frenemy, acts the way it does. Find out specific up-to-date research and stories from medlineplus.gov and NIH Medline Plus the magazine. medlineplus.gov